Year one of the Jeff Lebby era in Starkville, Mississippi is quickly approaching. What is the most important game for the Mississippi State Bulldogs in the 2024 season? Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. We're brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. Guys, download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com. And when you do, use promo code SECU to get a first deposit match of up to $100. Again, guys, that's our friends at Prize Picks. Promo code SECU to get your first deposit match today. Year one of the Jeff Lebby era set to take place this season in Starkville, Mississippi. And, guys, the Mississippi State Bulldogs, you could argue, are playing with house money because nobody's really expecting a whole lot out of you. The Vegas over-under win total sitting around 4.5 or 5 games. I think if you make a bowl game, that is the goal. That is the objective. And anything else is gravy because, again, the expectations are so low. It's been a tumultuous last couple of years, but that doesn't mean Jeff Lebby and company cannot surprise and cannot take the SEC by storm, believe it or not, in year one. But as we take a look at this schedule, a schedule that is one of the most difficult draws that any SEC team has in the 2024 season, what is the most important game of year one of the Jeff Lebby era? Guys, let's pull up the 2024 schedule here. And like I mentioned, guys, the SEC slate itself, it is a gauntlet. And there's no such thing as an easy schedule, as an easy draw, but some are more manageable than others, right? You kick things off against Florida. That is your SEC home opener and the SEC debut for Jeff Lebby. You got to go to Texas. You got to go to Georgia. You got Texas A&M on the docket. You got to go to Tennessee. You got Missouri. You got to go to Ole Miss. Like I said, guys, one of the toughest slates out there. Again, Florida at home, Arkansas at home. They serve as two very winnable SEC games. Maybe one of those games is the most important game of the season. The non-conference, Eastern Kentucky at Arizona State week 2, Toledo week 3, which could be tricky, and then UMass later in the season. So there's a lot of different directions you could go here. I think what's interesting, guys, if you want to tell me, if you want to convince me Florida in week 4 is the most important, I will hear that out immediately because, guys, there's a lot of folks already that are labeling that as the most important game, or excuse me, as an upset, as one of the biggest upset potential games in the 2024 season. There's a lot of folks that are labeling that as Florida should be on upset alert. This could be the big year one win for Jeff Lebby and sort of set the tone and get things kicked off. And that's a swing game that, again, if we look at getting to a bowl game, and I don't even think, guys, if they go 5-7 this year, even if they go 4-8, I think most are going to give Jeff Lebby year one as sort of a, hey, it's year one, it's a clean slate. He's not getting fired in year one. If you go 4-8, if you go 5-7, it is what it is, what it is. It's going to take some time to build. But I do think getting to a bowl game in year one of Jeff Lebby is possible. But if it's going to happen early on in the slate, yes, you've got these games against Florida and Arkansas. Yes, they've got to be wins. They're toss-up games that have to be wins if you're going to get to a bowl game. But that also means you have to go 4-0 in non-conference play. And guys, admittedly, for the most important game for Mississippi State, I was going back and forth between weeks 2 and 3 at Arizona State and Toledo. And here's why, guys. You look at Arizona State, what they were last year, 3-9, a lot of moving pieces, a lot of new portal pieces. You look at Toledo last year, 11-3, right? And they lost a lot, granted, but I mean, guys, that's a damn good Toledo program. You could convince me Toledo is a more difficult game than Arizona State. Might be a tough sell, but you could convince me. But with that being said, again, I think Florida's a solid pick for most important game. I think Arkansas is as well. Those are massive games, and I think those are the best opportunities for Mississippi State to get SEC wins. But if you're going to have a shot at a bowl game, you have to start 3-0. You have to generate that early season momentum. And if you're going to start 3-0, you have to go on the road and win in Tempe against Arizona State. And guys, for that reason, it is my most important game. I think that game, week 2, on the road at night in I think what'll be a pretty solid environment. And guys, you look at Arizona State, they were not good last year, 3-9. They did load up, though, on guys from the transfer portal. They got a brand new quarterback that came over from Michigan State. They've completely flipped the defense. I think like 9 guys from the portal came on the defense that are expected to either play or start even for them. It's a great opportunity to get the Jeff Lebby era rolling on the right foot. Because again, guys, that Florida game, it's a big game, but it won't be nearly as big a game if you're 2-1. It won't be nearly as big a game if you stub your toe in week 2 and you're not able to carry that momentum into that Florida game. Because, guys, again, I believe Mississippi State can get to a bowl game in year 1 of Jeff Lebby. And I think that's probably the goal. And, I think that's a pretty fair expectation to set. Hey, let's try to get to 6-6. Let's get to 500. Let's set the foundation and overachieve in year 1. Because, again, Vegas win total said, I believe, at like 4.5 or something. So, anyways, you look early on in this season. Florida's a massive SEC game. Arkansas is a massive SEC game because I think those are the two you identify as the most likely SEC wins. But those games aren't nearly as big if you cannot start the year off 3-0, sweeping through your non-conference. And so at Arizona State in week 2, not a good Arizona State team last year, but they've retooled, they've reloaded, they've built to the portal. They're looking to bounce back as well. So a pair of programs kind of on similar footing in that respect. You've got an opportunity to get the Jeff Lebby era rolling and getting started in grand fashion. But a win in week 2 has to happen. At Arizona State, night game in Tempe, Blake Shapen, Jeff Lebby taking the show on the road. I think setting the tone early is pivotal, and it's why I believe that game against the Sun Devils is the most important game for Mississippi State in year 1 of the Jeff Lebby era. So, guys, when you look at Mississippi State's schedule, do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Would you go one of the SEC games? Or do you agree that at Arizona State is going to be that tone setter, and it is the most important game of year 1 of the Jeff Lebby era? What say you? What is the most important game for Mississippi State in the 2024 season? Guys, that's going to do it for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Again, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. Until next time, guys, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we'll catch you on the other side.